All right, Evan, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Tuesday, December 28th, 2021. So markets anemic volume today, completely chopping sideways, total snooze fest. Did have a bit of a pop in yields towards the middle of this session. We'll talk about that a little later. We also took a winner on UCO. We'll just flip over and show you. By the way, the website over here is live. It is free to join for now. If you guys are patrons, you can flip over and join right now. Don't cancel your patron membership though, because I'm not posting any trades over here just yet. I don't have enough people on board yet. I know everybody's still kind of getting situated and joining. It may not go live fully until February 1st, but the website is available to join. It's free to join right now. But once it goes fully live, it'll be up $5 a month, just like the Patreon. And you guys who are currently patrons can move your membership over there if you like. But anyways, took total of 14% on UCO today, so nice gain there. For us, we'd had 8% on the first half and just under 22% on the second half. So you can see we have a nice month so far, and really nice year so far for us here with the members. But in any case, looking over the markets here, so there's a lot of areas. There's lots of tax loss selling. The last week of the year is always tough. There's also a lot of window dressing going on as well. So stocks that have been hot, you've seen funds pick them up, and that way they can put in their end of year report. Oh hey, we owned this stock, and it's just kind of shady, but that's just the way things go. Market's getting a little bit of a bid here. We got about 15 minutes of the close. Volatility is absolutely dead right now. Let's take a look at the VIX. It is just flat here, but this thing should get lower here. Not quite. I'm kind of really looking for a big flush out on volatility before we get any sort of sell signal. But I think, markets did get up to my target here of 475. Did exceed that a little bit, pulling back off of this trend line. But, look at the volume here. This is just, just under 31 million shares traded on the SPY with 15 minutes to go. I mean, this is as dead as it gets. And this is holiday volume, and this is what you expect. So I do think that we probably, at this point, market probably does want to trade up to this upper trend line. It might not go in a straight line. Maybe it has to, consolidate sideways a little bit. Maybe it has to hug this trend line a little bit, pulls back, maybe do the 20 MA, who knows. But I do think at this point, we probably get up there and test that. But, things can change. But we'll see what happens. There's absolutely no volume right now, so don't really trust anything this market does. You can actually see in the morning, they kind of pumped us up here, and then we got a little bit of a rollover, and a lot of amateurs were trying to buy this break, quote unquote breakout. Look at the rollover in the IWM having a nice push and then rolling right over. Lots of sectors saw that same kind of thing here. Also, we had some weakness in the semiconductors really right off the bat this morning. That kind of told you that we were going to have some weakness. I always tell you guys, semiconductors, watch them because they'll tell you a lot. They always give you clues. And the weakness in the semis kind of predicted what we're seeing here. Although the markets are getting a bit of a, I guess a relief rally, you can call it, if you want to call it that here, as we get closer to the closing bell. What was keeping the market up? Well, actually, Fins finally did something. XLF having a decent day. I mean, a 0.25% isn't much. It was up much more than that there. We look here on the intraday, had a nice bid and then kind of rolling over. You saw the same thing on JP Morgan. I've been watching that one pretty closely, and at one point, JP Morgan almost looked like it wanted to tick negative, but Fins were finally holding the market up as tech kind of came in a little bit here. We talked about IGV. We've been watching this one closely. Down almost 1% today, so almost, we'll see in the last 15 minutes here. But this is almost an engulfing reversal here on IGV. I mean, the volume is absolutely dead, so, let's not really make too much out of it. But if we start to make that lower high here, again, like we talked about, this could be setting up for some bearish chop. Tesla, we talked about that area yesterday. That has worked out as resistance. So, I mean, we weren't trying to short this necessarily, but I said it would be resistance, and it is. It's not to say that it's going to crash off of this level, but it is pulling back a little bit. Somehow still green here, or at least flattish. But, Tesla probably needs to pull back a little bit and consolidate this massive move here. By the way, Tesla getting upgraded this morning to, by some, I don't know, hack analysts after a 26% move in 5 days. So that just goes to show you how the market works here. And that, probably some more window dressing and whatnot, or just funds looking to unload their shares. Anyways, Lots of areas were stronger this morning, but did fade off the highs. We had the Dow transports still green here, was stronger, but did pull back a little bit. Same thing with the broker dealer. So financials in general have been weak. Even when they're strong, they're kind of weak. XBD finding resistance at this double top here, this little pivot, red bar, we said that would be resistance. It's probably going to need to consolidate a little bit to move higher, but with the light volume, they can really float this market up here. Anyways, let's talk about crude. Actually, let's flip over to XLE first. So XLE, another area that was stronger earlier, did come off the highs, hit that 50 moving average there. Same thing with the XOP. Resistance at this little gap window, red bar. Probably needs to consolidate if it wants to get through that 50 moving average. The OIH also red today. This one it's just been weak and it continues to stay weak. So I would avoid the OIH currently. But going back to the crude trade, we just got shy. So I've been saying for a while it's going to get up to that 77 handle. 76.92 was the high of the day. So we hit that pre-market, came down, tested this little consolidation as support, tried to get a pop, then they faded it back down. We took our profits right in this area here on the UCO for 22% on the second half. So nice move for us there. Now, this doesn't mean it can't trade higher. Doesn't mean it can't go up and hit 77 tomorrow. Doesn't mean we can't go up and hit 78, 78.50. But I think at this point with the 50 MA, you went straight into it, really from this low. So that's a big move there for crude oil. I think it probably needs to consolidate at least a couple of days if it's going to, push through that. If it's going to, advance higher. Does it? I don't know. I'd be really neutral on crude at this point. We are, if we do make a lower high and start to pull back, then you have a series of lower highs here. So, you could really flip bearish pretty quickly, but this is a nice ABC move up. I'm not a big Elliott wave guy, but you could make a case you've got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have your ABC up, and that's kind of like how, a bear trend starts, as you get the 5 wave down and then a 3 wave up. I don't really follow Elliott wave that much, but if that's your thing, you could be looking at that. Anyways, nice move, nice profit. Won't make too much more out of it other than that. But I am kind of neutral-ish on crude here. I think the upside at this point is limited, and therefore risk is more to the downside unless it starts to consolidate. If it starts to consolidate, then it can build up strength to maybe attack that, maybe the 80 handle. So that's kind of the short-term outlook there for crude oil. Outside of that, energy-wise, nat gas bucking the trend, but nat gas typically does its own thing, usually. We talked about this yesterday. Did get a nice bid yesterday. You're seeing a little bit of follow-through. It's got a lot of work to do, though, on the weekly pattern. First, you got to get above this. Well, you got to get above $4 spot 085 by Friday's close, and then you could say you've closed below or close above this red bar, which would give you the upside bias. It's really hard to say how high this can go because this is a lot of selling here. But maybe it gets up to 450 or so, and then somehow if you can get through that, it's 475. I still think nat gas has a leg lower in it, though. I'm not necessarily convinced of this little pop here in nat gas, but we'll give it the benefit of the doubt for now, especially with the light holiday volume. Let's flip over, move on to the dollar. Dollar all over the map today. So if we look on the intraday, started lower, big thrust, pull back, another thrust, and now just pulling back in as we got to the 3 o'clock close for Forex. Again, nothing really to do with the dollar here, holding this green bar, and this bullish weekly pattern is still intact. So dollar still holding up very well here, and again, I still think it's poised for a move in January. Yields has a pretty big dip today on the 10-year. Nice pop. I like the way that this pattern is setting up here. You're inside of this candle from the 21st, and this is setting up for a move higher. Same thing on the TYX, the 30-year. Nice consolidation pattern here over the last, 2 weeks, 3 weeks really, and that should probably set up for a move higher. Maybe as early as this week, but possibly next week as well. But anyways, giving yields kind of an upside bias here. Gold did pull back off the highs. So we talked about this yesterday. This pivot was going to, give it trouble. 1819 spot 3. It's unable to get above that, or at least sustain above that. So gold still finding resistance up here. Not a great look for gold. Silver did pop into this necktie of the moving averages here. So you got above that 2306 handle yesterday, closed above that, so that's a good sign. And now just pulling back off resistance. Look, you kind of basically went straight up here since the 15th. So not surprising that this is a little bit of resistance. If it consolidates, then it can push through, and your next area would be around about 2450 or so on silver. Platinum, same kind of thing, little pullback, tried to break out, didn't have enough consolidation behind it, needs to consolidate more to get through those moving averages, nothing more than that. Palladium, all over the map, but nice little recovery after a dip. So Palladium, again, same kind of deal, 100 moving averages of resistance. This red bar high around 2050, it's got to consolidate if it wants to move higher, and we'll just leave it there. Copper, lastly, a little bit of a pullback. We talked about this pivot right here. Let's actually just slap it on there so we can see it from now on. So we're going to go with 451.15. All right, so just getting up, basically getting up to that area. You could say you kissed it, basically. But pulling back, again, has to consolidate if it wants to get through that. You did kind of go straight up into that level. But, you know, if you get above that pivot, then you can get up here and, you know, maybe contend with this red bar a little bit. But we'll give copper the upside bias for now. I do not hate this pattern here on copper. One area of weakness today is crypto. Let me flip over to trading view. There we are. So Bitcoin, so basically the story right now is Bitcoin has to close above 47,861. If it can do that today, then it can save this inside bar, but I don't like this action at all. You've got good volume behind it, and you know, if it was going to reverse, it probably would have done it by now. It doesn't mean it can't happen, but I just not in love with what crypto is doing here. I thought we'd get at least one more little pop up on Bitcoin, but it's looking less and less like that is going to happen. I'm just not in love with this pattern right here. By the way, you know, we should probably start getting this trend line ready here on Bitcoin. So if this breaks, you're probably headed back down to 32,000. So, and maybe lower than that. But you had a head and shoulders pattern here, breakdown, an MA, head and shoulders, whatever you want to call it. And now this is forming one as well. So if this breaks, it's not, I mean, it's going to get ugly very quickly. Look how quickly, you know, it broke down from this area. The same thing can happen again if this level were to be confirmed below. Now you do have some support here in the 40 to 42 range. So that is going to be some, like, that's going to be your kind of, you know, if this pattern starts to break down and fails, it'll be because of this area. So, but you have done a lot of consolidating here. This is all, you can make a case if this breaks down that this was all bearish chop, building a bear base essentially. So I'm not in love with crypto unless it starts to reverse immediately. And if you can get back above this green bar low here, then I give it, you know, I'll give it the upside bias. But right now I'm just not in love with it. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum rolling over as well. This is going to be tough. Yeah, we talked about this red bar high here. I've been talking about that for like 2 weeks. 41.44 and just unable to close above that. So Ethereum now rolling over as well. So not loving what crypto is doing right now. Doesn't mean it can't reverse and move higher, but yeah, crypto is definitely an area of weakness right now. And you know, and crypto is a good indicator for risk. It's a good indicator for the appetite of risk here. But anyways, let's flip over to the markets here. IWM pulling back a little bit. Yeah, market's pulling back a little bit here into the close. Vol getting a tiny little bid. Let's not make too much out of it. It's probably just day traders moving out of positions and whatnot. I wouldn't make much out of it. There's absolutely no volume right now. Market's set to close in about 3 minutes. Anyways, guys, if the holiday volume continues, we can still see some the market trade up a little bit. However, if we see the volume come back and we see a reversal, we need to be on guard because this market probably wants to reverse very quickly. I don't think this market's out of the woods. I think that this is just a holiday light volume rally and not too much more than that. Anyways, guys, take care. Come check out the website. Like I said, it's free to join for right now. And if you're a patron currently, like don't cancel your membership just yet to move over, but you can move over there. Just I'm still only posting trades on Patreon for now, but obviously I plan to change that in the next couple of weeks to months or whatever. Anyways, guys, take care. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.